From our last episode from the story of Esther, we saw how Bigthana and Teresh were hanged on a gallows because of their evil plot against King Ahasuerus. Today we shall continue the story by reading our Bible from Esther chapter 3 from verse 1 through to 15. And we saw from this passage of the Bible that after this event, King Ahasuerus promoted Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite. Haman was promoted among all the king's officials. All the king's servants, which were at the king's gate, bowed and honored Haman, because the king commanded that everyone should honor Haman. But Mordecai refused to honor and bow down to Haman. The king's servant asked Mordecai why would he disobey the king's command concerning Haman. Day after day, they spoke to Mordecai, but Mordecai refused to comply. So the king's servant reported Mordecai to Haman to see if Mordecai's behavior would be tolerated because he told them that he was a Jew. When Haman saw that Mordecai refused bowing and honoring him, he was very angry. After getting the awareness of who Mordecai people were, Haman nurtured the idea of killing Mordecai alone, but also to destroy all the Jews throughout the whole kingdom. Now, on the first month, the month of Nisan, and the 12th year of King Ahasuerus' ruling, a lot was cast before Haman to select a day and a month, and the lot fell on the 12th month, which is the month of Hadar. Haman told the king that there is a certain people who were scattered and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of his kingdom, and that these certain people, their laws are different from the king's laws, and they do not obey the king. Haman told the king that if it pleases him, he should make a decree for these people to be destroyed. He also told the king that he would pay into the royal treasury 10,000 talents of silver to anyone who carry out this instruction. The king removed his ring and gave it to Haman, the son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, an enemy of the Jews. The king told him to keep his money and do whatever that pleases him to those people. Now, on the 13th day of the first month, the royal secretaries were summoned. They wrote out script of all of Haman's order on each province and in the language of each people. All the order were written in the name of King Ahasuerus and sealed with his ring. These scripts or letters were sent to all the king's provinces to destroy, kill, and perish all the Jews, both young and old, little children and women, all in one day. This action was supposed to take place on the 13th day of the 12th month, the month of Adar, and also to plunder their goods. The post of the king's command got to everyone to prepare. It got to the people to prepare against that day. And while the king and Haman sat down to drink, the whole city of Shushan was perplexed. The story continues. We have two questions from today's episode. Question 1. Who wants to destroy the Jews? Question 2. On what date was the Jews going to be destroyed? From our last episode on the story of Esther, we saw how letters were distributed stating a particular day to destroy the whole Jews under the ruling of King Ahasuerus. Today we shall see what unfolds from that story by reading our Bible from Esther chapter 4 from verse 1 through to 17. And we saw from that passage of the Bible that when Mordecai perceived all that was done, he tore his clothes, put on a sackcloth, and went out into the city. He cried out loud bitterly, and from the city he displayed his bitterness to the front of the king's gate. He couldn't go into the king's gate with his sackcloth because no one was allowed to enter into the king's gate wearing a sackcloth. And not only Mordecai was clothed with sackcloth, but every provinces which got the order from the king. The Bible said that there was a great weeping, fasting, and wailing among the Jews. When Esther's maid and her chamberlain told her about Mordecai and what was going on with him, Esther was really in distress. She sent clothes for Mordecai to put on instead of his sackcloth, but Mordecai refused to accept the clothes. Again, Esther sent Attach, one of the king's chamberlain, assigned to her. She sent him to go meet Mordecai and find out what the problem was. So Attach went to Mordecai and asked Mordecai. Mordecai gave a full explanation of what was about to take place. In fact, Mordecai gave Attach the letter to go show Esther and also tell Esther to plead with the king on the behalf of her people. When Attach explained all that Mordecai had told him and also showed her the letter, Esther again sent Attach back to Mordecai, reminding him how everyone in the kingdom knows that when the king hasn't summoned for anyone and that person, be it a man or a woman, goes into the inner court to see the king, will be put to death, except the king extend his golden scepter to spare the person's life. And when Esther's message got to Mordecai, he sent back another answer to Esther, telling her not to feel because she's in the king's palace, she would escape the destruction coming on the Jews. Mordecai sent words to Esther that if she chose to remain silent at this time, help and deliverance will arise from another place for them, but that Esther and her father's family will be destroyed. Mordecai reminded Esther in his words, saying, who knows the reason she was made queen at this time. Then Esther sent a soothing word this time around to Mordecai, telling him to go gather all the Jews that were in Shushan and fast for her. They shouldn't eat or drink anything for 3 good days. She also will fast with all her maidens. Then she will go see the king, which was not according to the law. If she perish, she perish. So Mordecai did according as Esther instructed. The story continues. We have 2 questions from today's episode. Question 1. What did Mordecai put on to display his bitterness? Question 2. For how long were the Jews expected to fast?